Let's take a few moments to remind ourselves how very fortunate we are to be able to listen to the Dhamma, to mend our minds and heal our hearts. And it's all thanks to the Supreme One, the infinitely compassionate One. The one who crossed the sea of samsara and liberated himself from all sufferings. So let's take a few moments to pay our homage to the Tathagata by chanting the Namaskara 3 times all together and with me. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. I would like to start today with something that I was told. And it was told by not someone from the monastery. Actually, it was told by a child who is, I'm guessing, around 15, 16 years old, maybe even 17, from Australia. And the reason why I'm going to tell you this story is because I would like you to see how much of a difference the Sambuddha Sásana makes on the lives of any individual. So this young boy, this young boy, he was told to do lots of merits by his teachers. He was told to do as many merits as he possibly could. Now, because he lives in Australia and he grew up in Australia, he didn't know what merits was. But he knew volunteering is a very good thing. Volunteering at different places is something that he should do. So he decides that he wants to volunteer at an elderly home. A home filled with very old people who needs 24 hours attention, care, and even their love. And so, just the other day, I was talking with him, and he was telling me, Swaminatha, why, when we grow older, do we start to behave like children? Because in his experience, as looking after all these elderly people, he realized that they were very similar to children. But his second question was what intrigued me the most. He said, I get to associate all these elderly people, and there's one person in particular that he finds very hard to associate, very hard to help, because he was telling me that every time he helped, like this elderly man would start telling him off and say, like, no, I can do it by myself. I can take my cup. You don't need to give it to me. I can do this. I can do that, and gave him a lot of trouble. But he was telling me, like, I understand. I understand why he was doing that, because he was telling me that this elderly man, before, when he was younger, right, in his prime, was a highly educated person. Not only that, he was one of the first people in Australia to actually start schools, start universities. And he was telling me, like, that this person is now in an elderly home. So he asked me, Swaminatha, how can we stop this from happening to me? I don't want to be like this. Okay. I have many dreams and many hopes, but if in the end I end up like this, I don't want that. How can I stop this from happening? How can I stop myself becoming more childlike? Because in his experience, because he has a younger brother as well, he was comparing how his younger brother and how this person who is maybe twice or maybe 3 times as old as he is, maybe 4 times, maybe 4 times as old as he is, how similar they were. His brother, when his brother didn't get what he wanted, he will put on a tantrum, right? Will start shouting and screaming and whatnot. When this older man didn't get what he wanted, what would he do? Would throw a tantrum. But he was telling me how in the elderly home, they were experienced babies, experienced children, which was more dangerous. Because why? Now they know how to use their words, they know how to say things and talk their mind. And so he was telling me that these two are very similar. And it reminded me of a quote that I think is one of the most amazing ones that has stuck with me from the first time I got to hear this quote. It stuck with me. And that is, at the end of a chess game, all the pieces end in the same box. Because this man, he was what? He was one of the first people to start schools, start universities. So he was a big person. But in the end of the day, life almost comes back to where it starts. Because when we were born, what did we start with? What did we bring into this world? How much were you, born with? How much money do you have when you were born? Hundreds of thousands of dollars? Did you bring with you even like 3 centimeters of hair? Do you bring that with you? What did you bring into this world? Nothing. So when you leave, what will you take from this world? Nothing. So he was telling me, how can I not be like this? I want to be someone who has done something but won't end up just like this person. Because no matter where he looked, he's seeing all these people who've done so many. So he was telling me, these people would always tell him stories. Every time he would go and help, he would say, "Oh, son, when I was your age, I was doing this and this and this and this," reminiscing the past, living their life in the past. And he was experiencing, he was telling me that, they've all lived such incredible lives, but at the end of the day, they're all at this elderly home, waiting for death to knock at that door. And death doesn't come and ask you, "You ready?" No, it comes with no warning. It comes without giving even 2 minutes warning. No, it just comes and it comes. It knocks and it opens the door without you even answering. So these people are waiting, and he was telling me that sometimes 1 week he goes every week to do this one volunteering for the last almost 8 months consistently, which I was very surprised about. And he was telling me some weeks I have to take care of X, Y, and Z. The next week, Y is gone. I ask where did she go? They say, unfortunately, she passed away. So what I wanted to expand on this. Number one, do you see, when you follow the teacher, how much of a difference it makes? So all that his teacher said was to do lots of merits. And in his idea, he thought, okay, I want to do merits. How can I do merits? I'm going to volunteer at this elderly home. Do you see, as he was volunteering at this elderly home, do you see how much of a difference it made in his life? his teacher didn't tell him to go to an elderly home, but at that moment, who is his teacher? At that moment, who is his teacher? Because a teacher isn't a person. A teacher is not a person. A teacher is more the vipaka energy that takes them towards Nibbana. So if we took it in a very basic sense, this young person, this young boy, got to hear the words, do merits. Now, that in itself is what? A teacher. Then he got the idea that I want to volunteer at an elderly home. That is also what? A teacher. I'm going to do it once a week consistently. That is also what? A teacher. But you can say, but that came from his own mind. He thought that he wants to go to this elderly home from his own mind. How can that be a teacher? A teacher isn't a person. It's the environment. It is the vipaka energy, it's the environment for the vipaka energy of Nibbana to be drawn. So when he asked me this question, now it opens the door for me to help him. So one of some things that we explored when I was talking with him is that as we grow older, we start to lose the things that we like. But most of all, we start to lose our senses. So I asked the child, you see, when you're in this elderly home, aren't there people who are finding it really hard to see? That they, no matter how thick their lenses are in their glasses, they still can't see. Are you okay with not seeing? Now you'll see this, especially when you start to associate like the people in the further end of human life, that they can't hear properly. So you have to go. So I remember when I was talking to my grandmother who's now passed away, but I remember going to her and saying, and I would talk with her. With whatever broken signal I had back then, I would talk to her. But then she'd be like, Putra, I can't hear. Say a bit louder. So what do I have to do? I go, Grandma, how are you? And say it a bit louder. And she'll be like, I still can't hear. Can you say a bit louder? And you have to go right next to her ear and scream in her ear for her to hear. Now, I remember very, very clearly that she used to get really angry with this because she had asked me 3 times, right? And every time I'd just increase the level a bit more because it's not easy screaming in someone's ear all the time when you want to converse with them. It's more easy to whisper because it takes less energy. And not only that, she used to get really annoyed because she used to think that, people were talking about her. Because she can see lips move, but she can't hear what they're saying. So someone is talking about me. I don't like that. And she used to get really angry with this. She used to get really mad with this. And so the question is, are we ready to lose our sense of hearing? Now, worst of all, as you grow older, there's a tendency to start forgetting. Forgetting where you left your keys, forgetting where you left your pens, pencils, books, forgetting whether you locked the doors, whether you did this. As you grow older, the tendency to forget becomes higher. And you see, so he was telling me that lots of these people in this elderly home had dementia. So they are living as though they were 20, 30, 40 years old in the prime of their life. But sometimes a person who would normally come and attend to their needs, When they come into the room, they start screaming and say, "Oh, we got to, I'm being robbed. Save me." And she'll start screaming. He'll start screaming, "I'm being robbed. Help me." No. There's a random stranger in the room, but this stranger has been in this room and has helped and attended this person for the last 6 months, but still can't remember. And every time he goes into this room, this person will start screaming. Because why? They can't remember. So when this person comes to them and says, actually, I'm not an intruder. I'm not a thief. I'm not gonna mug you. Instead, I'm here to help. To help you, to clean things up and to feed you if you need it. I'm here to help. Now, imagine when you are in the prime of your life. So at this moment, right? If you're 20, 30, 40, 50 years old, when a person asks you, "Do you need help?" the tendency to say is, we have the tendency to say, no, we don't need help. I can do things by myself. But in their mind, they're still what? They are in their 40s. They're in their 30s. So when they've been asked for help, the first reaction is, "I can do it by myself. Watch me go and pick up my cup." But when they stand up, they need a walking stick and they become really frustrated. Now the question is, are we ready for that? You see, we can't choose our future. We have no idea what the future holds. But there is one thing and one thing for certain. At the end of the chess game, all the pieces will end in the same box. No matter if they're the queen, the king, the pawn, the knight, the castle, it doesn't matter. At the end of the game, they end up in the same box. See, this is something that we start to forget. It's something that we really start to forget. That no matter how great we become, just like the elderly person who used to be, I'm guessing he had lots of certificates hung on the wall. But now, he's by himself with nothing. You see, this is when we have to rethink. Are we ready for this moment? Because prevention is always better than cure. Because when you're at that moment, when you're starting to, not be able to see things that you normally see, not being able to hear things that you normally hear, not being able to taste. I've known lots of people who, they can no longer taste as well as they used to. Growing up, they used to be ice cream connoisseurs. Right? They'll say, "Oh, I love this ice cream, love that ice cream." But as they grow older, they can no longer taste properly. And they get so frustrated. That's why as you grow older, food needs to be a bit more, spicy, a bit more salty, so they can feel it, they can taste it. So are we ready for that moment? To lose our senses? And this is not even talking about the inevitable death. This is talking about before that. Something, if we all get to that moment, will all happen to all of us. Are we ready for that moment? If yes, good. If no, we have to get ready. We have to prevent ourselves from being upset when these problems start to occur. Because once we're in the middle of problems, we can't see, we can't hear, we can't feel. So this young lad, this young boy was able to find a problem. Find that, no matter what he does in his life, he's going to end up in the same place. Now he has a question. Now he has the idea. How can I stop myself from going to the same condition, from growing old and losing my hearing and losing my sight? And it reminded me of, Prince Siddhartha. He left the palace and he saw the four sights: an old man, a sick man, a dead body, and a monk. This young boy, he also saw what? Sick, dead, old, and a monk. You see, the power of a teacher is something that you can never comprehend. Because a teacher is not someone who is there to hold your hand and bring you up step by step. Isn't there to spoon feed you. That's not who a teacher is. A teacher is someone who helps you learn to do things by yourself. See, a teacher is not someone who gives you fish. A teacher is someone who teaches you how to fish. So you're no longer dependent on someone. You're no longer dependent on a teacher or on anyone except on yourself. That's who a teacher is. So this boy was able to find his teacher, was able to find someone who would help him get through his life. Now the question is, do you have the environment? Do you have the environment for a teacher? Someone there to help you learn to pull the ropes, to not to fall into the same potholes that they fell into. Do you have a teacher that can help you stop being frustrated, being angry, being stressed out? In this day and age, we seem to find more and more people getting more and more frustrated. I think something that I do in my free time is ask people about, what was your past like? So I get to associate amazing people. Thanks to my environment, I'm able to associate a large variety of people from the ages of 7 to the ages of 70s. So I get to talk to all these people, and something that I normally do is I ask them, what was your history like? What were you like in your past? And something you start to realize is, at our younger generations, as the generations become younger, they seem to have more and more issues. We see a rise in mental health, and we see a rise in certain mental illnesses that weren't there in the past. Now we can say that's because because more and more people are there's more things to do. Actually, it's because before in our past, right, in the past of human in the history of human nature, we've always found ways to find answers to our questions. There's always been ways to find answers to questions, but it was always questions that were really something deep rooted in our hearts. But nowadays, the questions that we have is always answered by that rectangle device in our pockets. See, in this day and age, people don't see their negative emotions to be problems. People don't see anger to be a problem. They see, oh, I'm angry. They don't think, how can I get rid of anger? They think, how can I watch the next episode of my favorite TV show? They don't see anger to be a problem. They see, tomorrow my favorite TV show has another episode, or my favorite YouTuber is sending another video. How can I get that earlier? Is there a way for me to access that earlier? They don't see anger to be an issue. They don't see the fight they had with their parents, the argument they had with their parents to be an issue. Yes, they see it to be a bad thing, but they don't see it to be something they have to solve. Instead, they see it to be, that's okay. I was angry. That's okay. I was frustrated. That's okay. I remember I was talking to another young child who was she was doing some exams. And her mother was telling me that, the other day, her daughter was on the floor with pillows all over her. When the mother asked, like, Dua, like, why do you have pillows all over you? I'm just stressed. I'm so stressed. I've got so many exams. And so the mother asked, okay, you're stressed. Do you know why you're stressed? Because I've got all these exams coming up. I've got X exam, Y exam, Z exam. I've got maths, science, English, history exams. I'm stressed because of this. Okay. And so the mother asked, do you know how to get rid of stress? And she says, no. Now here's the best question. The mother asks, do you want to get rid of stress? Trust me when I say this daughter had answered, no. And so the mother was so confused. She was covered in pillows. And and she was telling me it wasn't like the light, fluffy pillows, like, those pretty heavy ones, like covered in pillows. And when asked, do you want to get rid of these problems, right? Do you want to get rid of this feeling of stress? She answers, no. Why? Because I like this. You like being stressed? No. I like feeling all these problems overloaded. Is that the reason? Do you see? We now don't ask these questions. Why am I angry? Or how can I get rid of anger? It's always, how can I sweep anger or sweep frustration under the carpet to get what I need done? How can I reduce my stress until my exam is over? After it's over, I don't need to care about stress anymore. It's under the carpet. Like, asking little young children to tidy up a room, what do normally? Unfortunately, in my childhood, I had a bunk bed, so I had a bed underneath me, right? But I know lots of friends and things and cousins and whatnot would say that their younger children would sweep all their rubbish where? Under the bed, inside cupboards, right? I remember once we went to growing up, I had a friend. We went to their house, right, and we wanted to play a game. We open a cupboard and all that comes out is like rubbish, just like pours out like an avalanche of just rubbish. Because why? If we can't see it, it's not a problem. Like ostriches, like what do they do when they're stressed out or when they're scared? They hide their head under the ground so they can't see anything. But their entire body is above ground. Everyone can see it. So a lion will go and look and say, oh, there's a standing bush. Why? We might as well just tap on it to see if it moves. If we can't see it, it's okay. I'm angry. If I can't see myself being angry, it's okay. I think the worst thing is when people don't realize that they have an addiction. Now you can say, well, I am not addicted to drugs. I'm not addicted to smoking. I'm not addicted to, say, taking alcohol or whatnot. But yes, but you can say, I'm not addicted to those things. But if I asked you, can you survive without pulling your phone out of your pocket and checking your notifications? If you say, I can't survive or I have to, is that not an addiction? If you tell me that, after every meal I have to have something sweet, like, a piece of chocolate and ice cream, if I don't have that, I don't feel right. I have to have it. If you tell me that, is that not an addiction? It is. But we don't realize these to be problems. We see, oh, it's just, part of my daily routine that, after every meal, I have to have something sweet. The word have to, that word have to has to be the red flag, showing that, oh, there's an issue here. I have to do this. I have to do that. That should be the red flag that's waving above your head. Oh, there's an issue here. I have to do this. Why do I have to do this? What happens if I don't do this? See, these aren't the questions that we ask ourselves. We say, okay, I have to eat chocolate. Where can I eat chocolate from? I think if I was talking about my past, my mother would find any excuse not to give me chocolate. Why? She used to say that if you have chocolate, the house is destroyed. So that was like a nuclear thing for me, according to her. But what she doesn't know is, if she doesn't give me chocolate, what happens? When a mind is in vexation, when the mind has an addiction, and the object of addiction is not there, what will the mind do? Be okay and be like, because Amma says no, I'm not going to eat it? No, I find ways. The mind will find any sort of way, whether by hook or by crook. If say, normally, if a father opens their wallet and looks inside, they'll find, couple of coins, couple of notes missing. Where do they go? The goblin takes it. The tooth fairy has to get money somewhere, right? They go into people's wallets and take them, right? But we don't see them to be an issue. We see the issue to be, okay, I'm angry. Why am I angry? It's because of this person. How can I get rid of this person? We are always trying to get rid of the symptoms. We're never trying to get rid of the actual culprit. We can get rid of symptoms over and over and over again. However, if you don't get rid of the main cause, you're basically doing nothing. One step up, one step down. One step up, one step down. Your entire life you've been going, so this is staircase. And finally the door, right? All you've been doing your entire life is going one step up, one step down, one step up, one step down. If I had asked you, how, what have you done in your life? I have been moving my entire life. How far have you moved? That's beside the point. I've been moving my entire life, taking step by step my entire life. How far have you gone? Forget about it. Our entire life, this is what we've been doing. We've been going one step up, one step down. We've never actually gone closer to the end. Well, unless you realize you've been taking one step down. If you don't solve the problem, if you don't solve the actual cause, what you are doing is you're taking another step down. See, we have to understand the true underlying problem. We have to understand the true problem here. We have to understand the true problem that's at play here. If we solve the wrong problem, we'll be solving it for the rest of our life. I think one of the best analogies for this is having a virus. You see, do you all remember, we've been through one of the most amazing times in the past having COVID, remember? Yeah? Where we had 2-3 years of holidays from school, remember that? Good times, right? 2 years of holiday from work for most of us, good times, right? Do you remember when you got COVID? What were your symptoms? Or let's not take COVID. It's fine, let's take COVID because that's something that we have in general, right? What were your symptoms? Now, what you'd say is, yeah, well, I had a dry cough. What else? What else do we have? Huh? Say again? Yeah, no, you can't smell anymore, you can't taste anymore. What else? What else are symptoms of COVID? No, high temperature, don't forget the temperature. Yeah. Now, if we have symptoms X, Y, and Z, right? So, say for example, a cough, a headache, temperature. Now, what you can do for your entire life is what? Take medicine for what? The symptoms. Now, this example is not acknowledging your immune system here. We're pretending there's no immune system for this analogy. But in this case, you can take medicines to get rid of these symptoms. You have a headache, what should you do? What do? Take 2 doses or two pills of what? Paracetamol. And with that, your temperature or your fever should also go down. You have a dry cough, what should you do? Take a cough medicine or a cough drop. Now, you can do this your entire life. You can continue to take two pills and whatnot, but you will never, one step up, one step down, one step up, one step down. You'll take the tablets, but you'll again become sick. You'll take the tablets, you'll again become sick. What should you do then? A good doctor will help your symptoms, but they'll target what? They'll target what? The main cause, the virus. What can we do to get rid of this virus? Have some kottamalli. Have some paspangu. Have some antiviral medicines. Have this and this and this, and you'll be okay. That's why some people get really frustrated, because especially in our monastery, right? There are many people who come with issues. They'll say, I have this issue, that issue, this issue, that issue. And when they come and they talk with a monk or an anagarika or an agarika, they always give the same answer. They always give a similar answer, no matter what you do. The same pill, but they'll change, the shape of it. One pill is like, will be like this. One pill will be this. One pill will have, this. They'll change the shape, but inside, it'll be the same medicine. So I know a lot of people become really frustrated because we help with the symptoms, but we focus on what? The virus. Because we know if you get rid of the virus, what happens to the symptoms? The symptoms will go by themselves. You don't need a paracetamol if you don't have a virus. Getting rid of the virus means the symptoms will go. So if you are angry, if you are sad, frustrated, stressed out, you don't need to get rid of the anger, stress, or frustration. What do you need to get rid of? The virus. Getting rid of the virus, all of these things will go. Just think about it, right? For every illness, you have a separate dose, a separate medication. You've got antibiotics, you've got antihistamines, you've got, antifungal, antibacterial, antiviral, and you've got lots of aunties and uncles. But if we can get rid of the cause with just one drug, the drug of the Dhamma, the drug of reality, now, can you become frustrated? Can you become angry? Will there still be symptoms? No. That's the thing. We have to target not just the symptoms. If your cough is too bad, please take some cough syrup. If your headache is intolerable, you can't tolerate it, take some paracetamol. But target the main disease. Because if you target the main disease, everything else will go. This is why the Dhamma is the universal drug. Because it shows the reality. Another amazing analogy, which is something I still use and I still think of, is, and we've talked about this as well in the past, but it's a dream. You know, we've all had dreams, right? We've all probably had a nightmare here and there in our lives. A time when we're extremely scared in our dreams. Imagine one day you're dreaming, right? And you're dreaming of, the worst thing that can ever happen to you. For different people, it'll be different things, right? But in general, if we were able to find something that we all really don't like, right? Say, one day you open your bank, you check your bank account, you find out that you're bankrupt, you got zero. Or for young children, you dream of doing an exam that you haven't prepared for. Oh no. But let's say you're having a nightmare, or even better, let's say you're being chased. You've been chased by a murderer, right? You see the knife or you see the gun and he's running behind you and you're running. Now, in this dream, you are extremely scared, right? You feel as though you are being attacked. You feel as though, there's someone running behind you, there's someone who's going to kill you, and your heart is now pumping. Now, if you've seen someone have a nightmare, you know they're having a nightmare, because why? They're squirming, they're sweating, they're whimpering, and so you know that, okay, something is not right. Now, as a good, say, mother, father, friend, brother, sister, how should you help someone if they're having a nightmare and they're so scared? How should you help them? Very simple. All you have to do is go and find Leonardo's... No. Very simple. All you have to do is you have to find the machine they use for in Inception, the dream box. You've seen it? Yeah? And they plug you in and you can go into people's dreams. You've seen that? So very simple. You find the box. If you can't find it, you create it. Not very hard to do. Right? It's very, very simple. Right? Just find some pieces here and there, put them together, and you'll find a dream box. And you plug yourself into their dream. You go into their dream and you solve their problem. You go and you help this murderer. You don't help the murderer. You help this person escape from the murderer, and they'll enjoy the rest of their dream for the next 10 minutes. Before either they wake up or they find something else to be scared about. Very simple, right? How hard is it to find this dream box? No, the solution is very simple. If you see someone who's in a terrible, terrible dream, right? I don't know, let's say in they're dreaming of World War III, right? Houses collapsing, bombs exploding, right? People on the nuclear buttons, ready to press buttons, right? The entire world is chaos. What should you do as a good friend or a good parent or a good sibling? Simple. Puta. son, friend, brother, sister, da da da. Wake up. You're dreaming. Don't worry, it's just a dream. It's just a dream. Because once you wake up, right, say you're being chased by a murderer, right? Once you wake up, are you still going to start running? No, at the first moment, you're still going to be a bit scared, but you look around and you see, I'm in my room. I look behind me. There is just a wall behind me. There's definitely not going to be a murderer running after me. Because once you wake up, now what? Is the problem still there? Is the problem there? No, because you realize it was just a dream. You realize it was just a dream. All you have to do is see what? See reality as it is. See what is really happening. Once you see what is really happening, now what? Now, okay. In your dream, you are going to get the most important exam in your life, right? In your dream, you get this, and they say, hey, okay, start. And now you're hyperventilating. You're thinking, I can't do this test. I've not prepared for this test. I can't do this. All you have to do is wake up from the dream. What is really happening? You see, okay, I have a piece of paper in front of me. All I have to do is write down what I know. All I have to do is write down what I know. If I know all this, great. If I don't know, that's okay. I think nowadays, well, not just now, I think since the beginning of the idea of testing people, tests have been something that gives lots and lots of people lots and lots of anxiety, stress. Since you were, so little, right? You were always what? Scared of what? The next exam. Do you not remember when, so today we have a Dakineyo. That's beside the point. We have Dakineyo by our Nobu International School. And they're doing all this, but they have their term tests coming. They have their term tests coming. If I'm not mistaken, it's on the 12th. No, not 12th, on the 15th, 16th. So they are also studying for their exams, right? But they also have Dakineyo. Now, normally, if you were at school, right, and you have a massive event to prepare for, and in another couple of days, you also have what? Exams. What would you do? You have two options. Either forget about the what? The event, or forget about the what? The exam. You see, these children are so lucky. I wish. I envy them. Because why? Since they were young, they were always told the reality. So they know they're dreaming. So when they're writing this exam or when they're doing this event, they remember they have an exam. That's okay. Let's do what I have to do at this moment. If that means holding a pearl umbrella, it means holding a pearl umbrella. If it means, offering flowers to the Buddha, I'll offer flowers to the Buddha. But after this, I'll do what is needed. I'll go back and start to study what I need to. Because they know what? They're dreaming. Now, that doesn't mean they don't get marks. They get their marks. Right? They are improving to a certain extent. But they are stress-free. So When this mother told me of her daughter lying on the floor with pillows all over her, right, stressing out, right, and thinking, what was she going to do? All I remember is our noble international schools students. Will they ever pile pillows all over them to get rid of their stress? Because that's why she's doing it, right? The pillows were there for what reason? As stress relief, to get rid of stress. Pillows, stress, the connection, stress, TV show, connection, stress. I remember I used to do this. Whenever I used to be really stressed, I used to go to sleep, right? Worst thing to do, but that was something that I used to do. Stress, sleep, the connection. What is the connection here? There isn't. You try, because the mind is trying to get rid of this feeling of stress. If that means, sleeping, it means sleeping. Even though it's not solving the correct problem. I had a friend who, whenever they're stressed, they would, first thing they'll do is order, from McDonald's. Right? To take their minds off of the exam coming up. Food, stress, what is the connection? There is no connection. They have to artificially make a connection so they feel that, I'm getting rid of my stress. It's like, before we understood science, when there was a thunderstorm, what do people think? They had to make a reason. They can't just accept, oh, it's just part of nature. No, they had to make a reason. This is not normal. The gods are angry with us. The gods are angry with us. That's why, because they have to make an artificial reason to make them feel that, okay, this is why it's happening. So how to get rid of stress? If I was to eat lots of food, of my favorite food, my stress will be gone. And I had the opposite as well. I had friends who, whenever they're stressed, they won't eat. They can't eat. And so literally within exam season, they would lose, give or take, 10 to 15 kilograms, like in a go. Still, because they think what? They're trying to make a connection. They're trying to find out why, how am I feeling this? Why am I feeling this? And they're finding the wrong solutions. If they came to terms with reality, if they start to understand what is real, what is really happening, if they woke up from their dream, now what? Now are they stressed? You see, we have to find and attack the symptoms. Not symptoms, sorry, the cause. The virus. Now, what is the virus that has infected our minds? What is the name of the virus that affected our minds? Okay, let's think of this. Let's all together, right? All of us together. Let's first of all come up with a problem, and we'll look at the solution, right? This is why the Dhamma is the Dhamma. You have to really think about this. Now, for most of you, if you listen to sermons, right, Guru Handu's sermons, Nayak Handu's sermons, and all these sermons, you will have a level of knowledge. You will know. But knowledge isn't power. Knowledge put into use is power. So this is me saying that, you can be angry. Being angry is okay. Because why is being angry okay? Being angry is okay? That can't be right. Being stressed is okay. That can't be right, can it? It is right. Why? Anger is okay because it's part of what? part of what? Nature. In other words, it's because of these causes do you get angry. But it's not a natural part of it. There's the virus that causes it. So being angry is okay. But we have to find a way to get rid of it. So when you are angry, that's okay. You have to ask yourself, why was I angry? What was the cause? Why am I sad? What was the cause? Because normally when you're in the horns or dilemma, right? When you're in the middle of a problem, you cannot see the solution. Especially you cannot when you're in the middle of a problem, you'll feel as though the Dhamma has left. So normally when you're really angry or really sad, really upset, no matter how hard you try, you can't contemplate on reality. That's why you either contemplate before and after, because that creates the environment for when this again happens, we can apply. So let's all think of a problem and let's look at the virus as well. Now, let's say the problem is my mother sick. My mother is sick. What emotion does it make you feel? Happy? Yes, Amma sick. What does it make you feel? What's going to happen? Is Amma okay? How sick is she? Can we get her to a doctor? Does she, what medicine does she need? Now, asking those questions, well, it's our responsibility to find out. Amma is sick, because this is part of our responsibility as well. So don't get mixed up with responsibility and the virus, because these go very close, hand in hand almost, but there's a fine line that separates it. Okay, so my mother is sick. So what is your responsibility here? What is your responsibility here? If mother is sick, then you have to ask yourself, how can I help? So, taking her to a doctor, responsibility. Finding or giving her the medicine she needs, responsibility. For example, let's say she needs an antibiotic every 8 hours. No, once every 6 hours, isn't it? Antibiotics? Yes? Once every 6 hours. So you helping her and making sure she takes tablets, that's part of responsibility. However, when mother is sick, is that the only thing that you do? No, you become worried, you become anxious, like, okay, is Amma going to be okay? Is she going to be okay? How above your responsibilities, you feel this feel of anxiousness, or you feel this stress, this fear. Where does that come from? It comes from my. Because if you looked at the reality of this, we give a mother a name, right? Because a mother is someone who gave birth. But this is very interesting, right? Now, take what I'm going to say with a pinch of salt, right? But those of you who can really comprehend this, try to comprehend this. When we say my mother, an image of a person pops up into your head. Agreed? When you say my mother, right, an image of a person pops up in your head. For a person to get the title of mother, what do they have to do? What do they have to do? They have to put their hands into their womb and sculpt the baby. Is that what they do? Do mothers sculpt babies? Do they say, okay, I want them to have this sort of arm, right? And I want them to have these legs, these arms, right, and a big head with a big brain. And do mothers sculpt their babies? Do mothers sculpt their babies? Do they like press everything and make sure it's perfect, right? Like make how mothers, sometimes they were like when the child is newly born, they'll try to make the child look as best as they possibly can. Does the mother do that? No. A baby is what? Or a mother is from a process, a natural process. Is from a natural process. But does that make... So what did this person have to do? What does this person have to do? Now you can say, well, a mother has to feed, or when the baby's in the womb, has to feed the baby, right? So they have to take double portions. Do they? Do they have to take double portions to feed the baby? Do they have to eat, okay, I'm going to have, on my plate of rice, I'm going to have this much is for me and this much is for the baby? Do they think that? The mother likes eating a certain food, but knows it's not good for the baby. Do they think, okay, I'm going to eat this for me, and this will be this other part? Let's say, I don't know, what's not good for babies. Let's say, for this example, let's say chocolate's not good for babies, right? I'm going to have some chocolate for me, right? And I want that all to go to me, and I'm going to eat some very healthy bananas and fruits for my baby. Can the mother choose what sort of nutrients go to the baby? Can the mother choose? So, being a mother is actually what? It's a natural process. So again, take this with a pinch of salt. So if I asked you, then who is a mother? Who is a mother? A process. A natural process. One step more. Again, take this with a pinch of salt, because if you don't get this correctly, right, there is a mother, right, and there's a son, right. If you don't understand this point, just remember there's a mother and a son. But think about this. Is there a mother? Is there a mother? If mother is a natural process, is there a separate mother? Or is mother part of nature? Mother is just a part of nature. But when you say mother, don't you have a separate feeling? Amma. Ma. Mum. Mother. Don't you feel something to be something completely separate? That there's something different. But is there a difference there? We feel this to be different, but this is the same. This is part of nature. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about the absolute reality here, right? So if you don't understand this correctly, go back to the understanding that there's a mother and there's a child and all this stuff. Because if you don't understand this properly, what will happen is you come into this idea that, oh, that means there is no mother, there is no father, so me going and taking something and ending their life is okay. No, but the quality of a mother is something that's, see, you can't say it's intrinsically in the mind of a mother, of your mother, but it's something that your mother can only possess. That's why if a random stranger went and like say did something to your mother, they don't get much. They get the same as it will be for anyone. But this is why this person holds a quality that no other person in this world can ever hold, the quality of a mother. That's why if you were to help your mother, that's why if you were to do something for your mother, that's why it's very meritorious. However, why are we so stressed out and frustrated when Amma is sick, when our mother is sick? It's because we think this is mine, my mother, that this separate being is mine. We say this separate being that we call a mother is mine. Technically, if anyone is sick, you should be suffering, right? Because is there only one mother in this world? No, every single one of us here has a mother. So every time they become sick, shouldn't you be sad? But you're not sad because you see the separate being is yours. The mother is mine. But this feeling of mine is also what? Just a what? Feeling. The feeling of mine is just a what? Just a feeling. Does your mother actually belong to you? Prove it. Prove it to me that your mother really belongs to you. You can say, well, I share 50% of her DNA. That's why she's mine. So, even though you are pretty sure that 50% of the DNA is mother and 50% is father, but yet the reason, but the mother, the way that we're talking about this in a very chemical aspect, but unless we've all tested biologically with DNA, is this our mother, and checked 50% and 50%. Unless we do that, can we say that this is actually my mother? Even chemically. Are we saying that, if they have this sequence means that's my mother? Can we say that? So, this is also just a feeling. My mother. My mother is sick. Again, let's take sick. What does it mean to be sick? Very simple. Give me another simile or synonym for sick. Unwell. That means they were well and now they were unwell. How do you define well? How do you define well? What is well? Okay. Okay. Well, is this idea that this is what is normally in our body. Now, is my well and your well the same? For example, there are some people who have allergies. Well, lots of people have allergies, right? Some people are deathly allergic to things like nuts, prawns. So, your well and my well, are they the same? No, you define well in one way and I define well in another. That's why, some people, if they get the smallest of headaches, they're bedridden. They say, you know what, I can't get up, I have a headache today. Some people, their arm is like not there anymore, but they'll still think, oh, I'm okay. And you'll see this especially when people play sports. I remember once in school, actually, there was one of my friends, you can say, or teammates. They were playing a sports. They fall down, they break their collarbone, they stand up and continue playing until the referee sees this, blows the whistle and says, you have to come off the pitch. He says, no, I'm fine. I'm completely fine. I'm well. The referee takes him off the pitch and says, go back to hospital. And I think he was in hospital for the next 2 months, right? Getting like a plate on his collarbone. So the way we define well will be different from person to person. But the reason why we say that someone is sick is because they're no longer well. Right now, your body is fighting against an illness. Right now, your body is fighting against bacteria. Every breath you take, you're intaking thousands of bacteria, thousands of viruses. So, is it the bacteria or virus that makes you sick? Or makes you feel unwell? No, it's this idea that I was well, or mother was well, now is unwell. Now there's a difference which makes her feel unwell. So this is saying that this is not disregarding her to be sick. She is sick. But this feeling that, oh my God, she's sick, that is no longer there when you realize sick is just another state of the body. It's another part of what? Nature. So this is nature. This is nature. What about this? My. Is my part of nature? My comes from what? My has to come from what? My cannot be part of nature. So my has to be part of what? The dream. Or the mind illness. What makes the mind illness? The virus of. You see, when we use the word ignorance, it feels so, almost condescending, like demeaning. You're ignorant, right? It's not so bad. It's just. Well, it's just the state of unknowing. Unknowing what? Reality. Because once you see who mother truly is, once you see what is sick, once you see what is my, now the virus is what? See, all you have to do, ladies and gentlemen, all you have to do is see the virus or see the world as it truly is, and then the virus is gone. Because the virus is you not seeing properly. The virus is that you don't know you're dreaming. Therefore, you're dreaming. Or therefore, when you're in your dream, you feel that there's a massive problem at play. But once you realize you're dreaming, now the problem is no longer a problem. You just realize you're dreaming. Just like this issue, this symptom comes because of the virus of not knowing that this is part of a sickness. Not knowing the sickness of ignorance. Sickness of not knowing. The sickness of not knowing what is real. What is reality. You understand reality, this all goes. Now, you will still have this. You will have once you get rid of the virus of not knowing, you have this. Mother sick. But this is not my mother. This is just what? A mother. This is not, sick. This is just a different state of nature. How can I help my mother? Or how can I help mother become better? We realize that this is what? That this state comes from what? Cause and effect. When the causes come together, do you get the effect of sick? When the causes come together, do you get the causes of mother, the effect of mother? Or mother manifests the manifestation of mother or the manifestation of being sick. By getting rid of the causes, we can help this mind not feel sick. And then what? That's it. But before, when my mother was sick, now it becomes a burden. Mother sick, now it's a responsibility. A burden and responsibility are two different things. Responsibility is what we do, how we help another person, what we can do to help one another. But a burden is what weighs us down. A burden is what makes us keeps us in this cycle, this vicious cycle. Mother is sick. Understand what mother is. Understand what sick is. When you understand both of these, now you wake up from the dream. Now, don't mistake this for saying that there is no mother, there's no sickness. There is a mother, there is a sickness. But remember, these are just feelings, something that you feel. A good way of seeing sickness to be something that you feel. Sometimes, if someone was born with, say, a cough, do they feel themselves to be sick? If you were born with a cough, do you think, and you keep coughing every, say, 5 minutes, you start coughing? And it's not like a big cough, it's just like a clearing your throat sort of cough. Is that an issue? Do you think yourself to be sick? No, it's a part of your nature. But someone from externally will see this to be, that might be a problem. Did you ask a doctor? You see, once you understand reality, problems go over. Now, coming back to where we started. How can we stop ourselves from being upset when we cannot see? Why do we get frustrated? I'm going to help you with seeing, and I want you to think about the other senses. I see. Now, let's look at the reality of seeing. Very briefly. Can you see? Can you see? Can you see? Are you sure you can see? Everyone can see? What are you seeing? Oh, how are you seeing? How are you seeing? If you are seeing, can you stop seeing? If you are seeing, can you stop seeing? Can you stop seeing everything around you? Because why? What is seeing? Seeing is what? Seeing is a process. Okay. If you can see, if you can see, how many things do you think, how many minds do you think it takes for you to see the word see? How many minds do you think it takes you to see the word see? Your mind can only do one thing at one time. If we were to break this down into millions of small parts, your mind can only identify one thing at one moment. So this do you see this small dot here? That small dot? That's one mind. You see this other dot here? Another mind. You see this other dot here? Another mind. And this dot here? Another one. And this here, we can take the next 5 hours just to go through S. But when you see the C, when you see the word see, you don't just see C, do you? What else do you see? The board. What else do you see? The color. What else do you see? The shape. And you also immediately identify this is the word what? See. Okay. I want you to tell me what I'm writing. Right? What have I written? What have I written? Okay. Let me give you more of a hint. This is English. What have I written? Hello? Is this hello? Are we all seeing the same thing here? How is this hello? See, she's good, she's smart. See? She saw this and looked at it and identified what? Hello? Do you see that the mind is working so fast that it not just reads what is seen, but it goes and tries to identify what it says? I remember growing up, I used to get told off so often when I had to read out loud, because I had the tendency to miss words, to add words, to change the words. And it was something that was with me even as I came to the monastery. I remember one day Nayakananda asked me to read out a passage, right? Because we had to do something, and I remember I had to read this out. And he had the copy with him as well, and I'll be reading it out. And then there'll be an when there's not supposed to be an or there'll be an S where there is not supposed to be an S. There'll be words missing, words added, and he'll be like, oh, start again from the very beginning. Trust me when I say this. I was on the same paragraph for the last, I think, for almost 10 minutes straight. The first sentence maybe. Because I realized we actually don't read words. What do we read? Shapes. Um, I'm just thinking of something to write here. Can you read that? Some of you can, even though I can't read it. Some of you will be able to. Why? Because you read, this looks like what? This. There you go. This. What does it look like? That looks like a P. I think that looks like a kind of an E. Place. Who said place? Okay. Okay, is, you can see. Arranged. Wow. Very. Tell me, how did you read that? Trust me, I don't write like this. I wish I don't think I write like this. But how did you read that? You try to make sense because this is how fast your mind is. Your mind sees this and automatically sees it all. And it tries to make sense, tries to identify. And so it says, this has to be this. Technically, even if this looked terribly wrong, like you can't see it, you'll still say the word beautifully. Why? Because this place is arranged very. Next word, you see something, you see a Y. It has to be beautifully. So, are you the one who's doing that? I used to be amazed. I think I remember growing up and I had one friend whose handwriting was for 99% of the entire world illegible. Except himself and the teacher. Somehow the teacher could read his handwriting. And I was so surprised, right? Because if you came and read his book, it literally looks like scribbles. But if you give it to the teacher's like, I remember he used to get like amazing in English. And if you ask him like, what do you write? You look at his book and you think, the teacher's amazing. No, it's not the teacher's amazing. This is what? The mental process. The mind works like this. The mind works in such a way that it tries to identify all this. See, you saw me write. Agreed? I was writing. Was I writing? Some people say I was writing, some people say I was scribbling, right? But was I writing? In reality, was I writing? This was the collection of several different minds. But the minds are all similar. There was a seeing mind and a contact mind, or a physical, tangible contact mind. And a thinking mind. All those minds came together, and this came out of me. Really? It came out of me? Was I the one who wrote? No, writing happened. But I take ownership because of what? The virus. Because I don't see reality. Because if I don't see reality, I place this idea that I'm writing. Writing happens, but I think that I'm writing. And you think that you saw me write, but all you saw was what? Seeing minds, hearing minds, thinking minds. If you don't understand that, let it go. We'll come back to this topic some other time, right? But I am very aware of the time. Today we have a dakineyo, a procession of 100 monks, and it's sponsored by a Noble International School. So you'll see our students, and I think also we have guests from RI as well, the RI International School, the Royal Institute. Now remember, we may not be doing the merits, but we can put the joy in the rejoicing. We can rejoice in these merits. Rejoice in a way that you can accumulate so much good karma, so much good vipaka. Because remember, these children are children who not only are being educated by amazing teachers. Like, trust me, I always say, I think since childhood, I've always appreciated teachers, because teachers are amazing. So they're educated by amazing teachers. And not only that, they're given they're not just fed a syllabus of how to do maths or how to do science. They're also fed the Dhamma. They're also fed great qualities. I've had the fortune of sitting down in some of these classes, and also myself, I've helped out with several classes as well. And you realize how amazing the teachers and students are. It is I'm not saying it's a perfect society. It's not perfect, because it's improving every day, but it is making its way, and it's an amazing opportunity. So today it's the dakineyo, not only there's the noble hearts as well. And I do really want you to rejoice in as much mercy as you possibly can, and accumulate as much karma, as much vipaka as you possibly can. Because this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Is it not? It is. Because next mind, or tomorrow, the minds that arise tomorrow are separate, or are not the same mind as today. So this mind, it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Well, for those of you who are frequent to the monastery will understand. Those of you who don't come to the monastery as frequently, it will actually be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. See, when you understand it through the eyes of the Dhamma, you see it to be a natural process.
Of which you participate as a process yourself.
Basically, yes. Like if you, because in the end of the day, what we have to realize is that everything around us is cause and effect. So a natural process is a process of cause and effect. So when the causes come together, do we get this effect? But because of our ignorance, our mind does not accept that. Our mind wants to give identities and give fixed feelings to all this. So there has to be a mother, and this is my mother, and I'm the child, or there is another child, and we create this story, right? And there's this idea, or this storytelling business comes from the virus. It is. If you can see yourself to be a process, well, that is basically the contemplation of anicca. And if you see yourself to be a process, that is also the contemplation of what? Dukkha. If you see yourself to be a process, that's also the contemplation of what? Anatta. Anicca, dukkha, anatta.
I just wondered whether I was going.
See, we all wonder the same thing. In the eyes of other,
The eyes of the world is different.
it reminds me of something that one child has told me. So, those of you who know, the Guru Hanuru is in Australia on a tour, and he's coming back. Don't worry. But she was telling me that in one of his sermons, he repeatedly said, "I am not crazy," repeatedly.
Yeah.
Because why? Because in the eyes of a person who doesn't see the reality, not yet at least, these like, for example, if you talk about anger and you say, okay, how can we get rid of anger? The first thing that people say is, well, do we need to get rid of anger? Isn't anger a part of the normal human emotions? If a person doesn't get angry, are they normal? But then when they are angry and you ask them, do you want to be angry? They say, How do I get rid of it? When they're not angry, they don't see it to be a problem. So in the eyes of lots of people who don't see reality, this is kind of, we're like, oh, we are all going insane. But the best analogy for this is, in a mental asylum, the doctors are crazy. In the mental asylum, the doctors are crazy. Right? Every other patient is normal. So, don't worry. If you go crazy, we are also crazy too. So I wouldn't worry about that. Okay. So I've gone over time, unfortunately. So let's take a few moments to transfer our merits and conclude today's session. Let's take a few moments to transfer all the merits required by making offerings to the infinite virtues of Noble Triple Gem, chanting prayers of the Dharma, and engaging in various meritorious deeds today. So first and foremost, let's remind ourselves how incredibly fortunate we are to be in receipt of Lord Buddha's teachings, and with immense gratitude, let's transfer the merits to Bhikshu, Bhikshunis, Upasakas, who since time immemorial have protected and preserved the sublime teaching of the Buddha and passed it down through the generation of the noble lineage in the form of the Tripitaka, which is thankfully available to us today to study, to understand, to comprehend Dhamma. Also take a moment to transfer merits to all the members of the Mahasangha present throughout the world, including all chief players of chapters, who have dedicated their lives to the noble path and committed themselves to betterment of all sentient beings. Let's not forget, among them will be the monks and nuns resident in your local temples and nunneries who have always been by your side, through thick and thin, come rain or shine. Let's all take a moment to transfer merits to Guru Swaminanse, as well as other monks resident at the monastery, as well as the anagarikas attached to the monastery. So all take a moment to transfer merits, express our gratitude to those who made great effort to disseminate the teachings of the Buddha, be thereby transliterating sermons, share them out with others, inviting others to join them, may the power of merits. If any of them have been born in the woeful plane, may they redeem themselves and be born in blissful plane. May by the power of merits, may they abstain from unmeritorious deeds, fulfill the meritorious deeds, fulfill the noble foot path, and attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Let's all take a moment to transfer our merits to the friends of the monastery who, for sake of merit, continue to sustain the Mahasangha. This includes every one of you who have contributed to the construction of the monastery, to those of you who provide the Mahasangha with shelter, alms, robes, medicines, as well as those who pass on their no-hugs and their well wishes. May through the power of the merits, may they abstain from unmeritorious deeds, fulfill the meritorious deeds, fulfill the noble fourth path, and attain supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Let's all take a moment to transfer merits to our mothers, fathers, grandparents, uncles, aunts, cousins, nephews, nieces, friends, and acquaintances, employees, to all those who have helped us, supported us, assisted us in any shape or form. By the power of the merits, may they be healed of physical and mental ailments, may they overcome any obstacles in spiritual progress. May they abstain from unmeritorious deeds, fulfill the meritorious deeds, fulfill the noble fourth path, and attain supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Let's also take a moment to transfer merits to the Devas and Brahmas, spirits, demons, primary Sakradeva, as well as numerous gods and deities who are committed to protect and fulfill the Sambuddha Sásana. Let's not forget, among them will be our guardian deities who keep a watchful eye over us and keep us out of harm's way. May to the power of the merits, may they prosper in divine power and wisdom. May they abstain from the meritorious deeds, fulfill the meritorious deeds, fulfill the noble fourth path, and attain supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Let's take a moment to transfer merits to our ancestors who have predeceased us, to all those who have been friends and family to us in this even long journey in samsara. Let's also take a moment to transfer merits to the armed forces, as well as the police force who have sacrificed their lives to protect the peace and harmony of our nation. May all those who lost life in the war be their friend or foe, rejoice in the merits acquired today. Let's also take a moment to transfer our merits to all those who lost their lives in natural calamities such as tsunamis, earthquakes, landslides, pandemics. Reminding ourselves among them will be those who have been friends and family to us in the long journey in samsara. May the power of the merits, if any of them have been born in the woeful plane, may they redeem themselves and be born in the blissful plane. May by the power of the merits, may they abstain from the unmeritorious deeds, fulfill the meritorious deeds, fulfill the noble fourth path, and attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Let's also take a moment to transfer our merits. Let's make a firm determination, made by the power of all the merits required throughout the day. Maybe we be able to witness the advent of many hundreds of thousands of Arhat nuances, Arhat Mahin nuances in this blessed land. And finally, may the power of all the merits required throughout the day, you and I and everyone made this program a success, become a Arhatan Wanse or Arhat Mehin Wanse in its very life in the era of the Gautama Supreme Buddha itself. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. The Mahasangha will now transfer the blessings to you. Raga ginnen midetva Dvesha ginnen midetva Moha ginnen midetva Nibbana parama sukhayin Sukita taravetva Nibbana parama sukhayin Sukita taravetva Mamada siyalu loka siyalu satvayo Nibbana parama sukhayin Sukita taravetva Nibbana parama sukhayin Sukita taravetva Raga gini niveva Dvesha gini niveva Moha gini niveva Nivan sapa labeva Nivan sapa labeva Nivan sapa labeva තුන්වන්ගේ සුසියනන්ත මහා ගුණ බැලින් සියලු ලෝක සියලු සත්‍යෝම නිබ්බාන පමසුකින් සුඛතර වෙත්වා